I never thought I'd see the day where I would find a an even cheaper inspired rendition of Dior Homme Intense. For those of you that know Dior Homme, Dior Homme Intense and Dior Homme Parfum are similar and yet different. Dior Homme Intense is the powdery, creamy iris makeup lipstick bag. Dior Homme Parfum is more of a dusted, almost tobacco harshness brush on top of the same type of profile, a little fresher, um, and less creamy, obviously. People call it the dusty iris. I've found a fragrance today that's an inspiration that you can practically get for around the $10 price point, and boy, is it valid. We got to talk about it, guys. Strap up. All right. Welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the evening. Today, I got to talk about this fragrance. It's very rare that you go inside of a TJ Maxx or a Ross or whatever and find a Dior Homme Intense or Parfum clone, inspiration, dupe, whatever you want to call it. But when you do, you know of the bottle because when they're trying to tell you or sell you some Dior Homme, they're going to copy the bottle outright, at least in my experience, given a couple exceptions. You know, when we think of Dior Homme Intense or Parfum clones, I think of Camaro Homme Intense. I think of Cayenne Classic. Those are the immediate two that come to my mind. Maybe I'll think of a few more, but this one is just as valid, guys. This is from the house of Privé, and it is Illusion Intense. I wasn't doing any research in this. I was just simply going to a TJ Maxx, and I saw it, and I said, oh, Dior Homme. You know, how could I miss that bottle, right? You know, it's very cheap. But what ml is this? This looks like, is it 100 ml? It might be. It might be 70. It's a lot of juice. You know, I can't quite see here, but might be 100, might be 70. But either way, I was really, thankfully this fragrance was out. It wasn't even bundled up or packaged. So I was able to just open the cap and it smelled nice. So I had to buy it and see if the test strip would further prove its quality. I think I got this fragrance at the time for maybe like 10, 12 bucks. And I'm a sucker for some Dior Homme, Intense or Parfum. Let's get some initial thoughts. We're not going to go on Fragrantica because this is one of those companies that you're just not really going to find. The search will probably just give you like an eBay listing of it, which isn't going to break down the notes. But we know when we're talking about Dior Homme Intense specifically, which I think this is a clone of, we're talking about iris, florals, creamy lipsticky iris fragrance, for lack of better words. And man, it is so close. The density and nuance within the density isn't quite there like Dior Homme Intense. But, for instance, let me just grab Cayenne Classic. You know, when I... Whoa, uh-oh. Minor malfunction. Bear with me. We're going to leave the camera rolling. I'm too lazy. Yeah, when it comes to something like this, Cayenne Classic, I believe that's what this fragrance is called. Yeah, I believe this is supposed to be a Dior Homme Intense clone as well. And yeah, it's extremely close to Cayenne Classic, and this is like a $20 to $30 fragrance right here. We'll review that later in the channel. This has a little more density, a little bit more powder and trueness in its DNA. But man, Illusion Intense, though it's just the tiniest, maybe 10% more fresh, these are virtually the same fragrance. Very accurate even. I would call it this comfortably like 90% closeness to Dior Homme Intense, just lacking a little bit of depth and weight, but it still has a substantial amount of weight. This is easily a 10-hour fragrance. Maybe 8 at the least. There's not much else to say about this fragrance other than that this is Valid, guys. If you see this and you don't have Dior Homme Intense, or you have Dior Homme Intense, but you want to mix up the sprays to preserve your bottle, I know a lot of people kind of safeguard their Dior Homme Intense depending on what year it was made and whatnot. But it's not a fragrance that you want to run out of juice for. You know, what are we talking about for people who haven't smelled this? This is that nice, seductive date night fragrance that has so much allure and draw because the familiarity of notes line up with a lot of things that females enjoy smelling. Florals, lipstick, kind of a cosmetic-y vibe, powder, sweetness, creaminess. You know what I'm saying? Again, I always equate fragrances like this to a man wearing a salmon colored collared shirt, or some light pink, or even some pastels or something like that. It's not necessarily feminine, but it's just off the beaten trail. You know what I'm saying? It's not stark man's macho manness. This is the subtle man, the man that has different sides to him that make a woman go, oh wow, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? And so this is a man who's comfortable in his own skin. And that's why I just appeal to the iris notes so much, because it has so much dimension to it, so much character, and boy, do women love it. This is the date night seduction in a bottle, and for $10, man, what a valid choice. I would not be mad if I didn't have Dior Homme Intense and just had this, or Cayenne Classic, or Camaro Homme Intense. But this is easily worth talking about just due to the price point. You didn't think you could go lower than $20 until I stumbled across this, and now it's like, wow, for $10 you can get a 9 out of 10 closeness to Dior Homme Intense with a lot of juice, and you have access to it. If you guys see this, definitely pick it up. Ageless, any season, any reason, though I think it does shine in cold weather. It is a cold weather fragrance, but people who love this fragrance do not discriminate. We're wearing it year round. As long as we're indoors and it's not blistering hot out, we're going to get some distance with a fragrance like this. Again, about a $10 fragrance. Probably will have a hard time finding it online. You probably have to cop it off eBay or something like that. But for how cheap it is, get your butt in a TJ Maxx. For those of you that don't know, when you go in the TJ Maxx, they typically have the weakest selection because all of the colognes are in a small glass case. However, depending on which location you go to and how big the store is, they always have a section of fragrances that are so cheap. You know, they sit under the $15 price point, and they're all open to smell. So you can kind of just go over there. And a lot of times those fragrances suck, but I would say probably 20 to 30% in the stack are always valid. And this might be one of the best finds ever in that stack, being what it's cloning, how close it's cloning it, performance, quality. Nothing synthetic about this, guys. It's shocking. You know, yeah, you're going to look like a poser, but just hide this bottle in the back of your collection and no one will know. Let me know if you guys have this fragrance in the comments, if you come across it, because I know I've only seen it like one part of the season in the year. And I'm assuming that if anybody saw this and knows what Dior Homme Intense is, as soon as they put their nose to the cap, it's flying off the shelf. You know, I've only ever seen 2 bottles of this in store, and I almost bought the second bottle, and I am a owner of the first bottle. So I can only imagine this would be an extremely popular one amongst the crowd. Let me know if you've seen it in stores, if you have it, if you agree with me on its accuracy. Let's start a conversation in fragrance. Is there any other Dior Homme Intense or Parfum clones in the lineup for you? Because I'm pretty sure Cayenne Classic is DHI. Privé Illusion Intense is DHI. My Gary's Den from FOMO is probably the best Dior Homme Parfum rendition, and I think Camaro Homme Intense is DHI as well. Let me know if I'm inaccurate on that. I'm pretty sure that's spot on, but let me know if there's any other fragrances that it's kind of crazy how many valid clones we're starting to have for the Dior line. I'd love to get a Dior Homme Sport clone. I smelled Dior Homme recently, as you guys know, and I just wasn't a big fan. I thought it was light, and I thought it lacked a lot of what I look for in a fragrance. But Dior Homme Sport was pretty sporty. It was nice. Anyways, Like, comment, and subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell so you can be in the loop of all the latest and greatest with the channel. We're growing, we're moving, and man, we're having a good time chatting about fragrance, and I appreciate all of you guys. Let's keep the hobby going. Until next time, y'all be blessed. And this was a review of Prive, that's Prive with an accent mark on the E, Illusion Intense. Have a great one. Peace.